god, I can see that. Oh my god.
Where?
Thermic, like there was something moving, literally.
I've got me.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, I can see that. What the fuck is that? Come back here, guys, for fuck's sake!
Why can I not see it?
I can. It's like a. I can. It's like.
Yeah, I'm going to start at the lighthouse because, like people said, we went to the lighthouse and we had a little bit of a walk around there first, and it was really windy. I know the night before we'd been up to the cliffs, and it were really cold, and I'd not really put my thermals on, so I thought, no, tonight we're going up there, I'm going to put them on. So we decided, let's go up to the cliffs. So we got up there. We got out of the car and we started walking down. But as we got out of the car, I'm one of these who, when we're up Winter Hill, I always look to see how windy it is. Because if I'm filming, then it'll mess with the mic and the sound. So I look to see what the weather's like, what the wind's like, and how noisy it is. And I noticed a complete silence. It was just so quiet. It was warm, where I could, like the night before, it was freezing. And I looked up towards the trees to make, and they were still. So I thought, well, this is nice, but this is weird. One place we're at, it's windy. We come here, totally still. So we get out. I mentioned this, and we got out and we walked down the path towards the first viewing point. There's two paths there. One goes towards one viewing point, and the other one goes straight down. We took the one that went straight down to the smaller viewing point. So we ended up walking to that. We got near it. Pete was telling us how he was feeling and about his arm feeling as though it was broken. And I said I'd got a bit of an headache. And then I started feeling sick. In this particular point, which is a square bit at the bottom of the platform, down the steps, But as I moved away from it, I started feeling a little bit better. But as I got to that square point again, it started again, and to the point where I moved away because I thought I was actually going to be sick. You know, when you're feeling sick and you start burping. I was like that. So as I moved away, felt better. Lee had a pain in his head as well. And then Natalie was saying about how she was feeling. Now, at the time, I wasn't feeling anything but sick. You know, I wasn't scared or feeling anything else. So we moved away from that. And sort of like, Pete wanted to go to this area where this hill is, which is, it's got a platform on one side, and then behind that, there's this little like hill. At first, it runs along, and then you get to a bench, and then there's a dip before it gets up. So we got to the bench, and I could sense Natalie was agitated and scared. So I said, I'll sit here with you, and you know, I can just let Pete and Lee go over and just have a look round, and I'll just wait here. So we just sat there chatting, and I got an Aura night vision. It sees in colour. So half the time myself, I'm looking through this, but I'm not ready to pass it to Nat so she can look through and see like there's nothing around, because it's like looking through it. It's like daylight. So as I'm passing it over, right, I hear Lee shout. Oh no, sorry, we're too far there. At first, I heard the pheasants making a racket, and I thought, oh, I wonder if somebody's come in a car and it's disturbed them. And then I thought to myself after, you know, I've been thinking to myself over the time since it happened was, you know, if a cat, they would have been making this noise when we turned up in car. So why when they're not making it then? No.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, they weren't.
And I know when we're up on Winter Hill, the pheasants, if you go anywhere near them, that's it. They just start them and go running out and going mad. Yeah, and they were doing that. So I didn't think anything of it, and that next to me, that's the point where Lee started shouting over, you know, and I could tell the way he was shouting it. This isn't Lee, you know, it's not. He's seen something, he wants us over there straight away. So I said to Nat, I said, come on, you know, they want us both over there, because I weren't going to run over and leave her there. So I got my parabolics in my hand at that time. It's got headphones with wires, so I got it a bit entangled. So I wrapped it around me, and we started walking up. And Lee's shouting, "Come on, hurry up!" And I'm all right. So I get to the point now. I've got my night vision on,
yeah.
And when I put it, because it's a monocular one, I put it up to my eye, and when you move it away, your eyes have to adjust back. It feels funny, you know, like it's like shining a torch in one eye for a minute. And then moving it away. So your vision's not very good. So I got there and I lifted up and I'm trying to look, and I couldn't see anything through that. And I looked over, moved it to one side and tried looking then, but I was like half blinded. So I didn't see anything itself. But in everyone's voice, I could tell there was something going on there. Now, this is a part of when I've got back and looked at the footage of that part and I've seen it, you can actually see two things. I've caught the two things running in tandem next to each other and doing the same things. They do jump and they run along. Now, because I'd not seen it through the aurora, I'd already put it down at this point. So I just caught them quickly running along and I put it down. But I don't see anything else. That's why, because I'm not as bothered, and you know, and I'm saying, come on, let's go over, because I didn't see these things at that point, and I'm no, you know, let's go over, you know. But I could tell with Lee's voice, and they would say, no, I don't want you going over. I stayed there, sort of thing, you know, and. But just before that, like Lee was saying, he was asking me, oh, you know, how you feeling and that, because my voice was funny. Now, I didn't feel it myself, but I did have, as we were walking along, I felt. Now, usually, you get your ears on top of your head standing up on your hands. Now, everyone's had that, so they know how it feels. But just imagine it from your ankles going all the way up to the top of your head. That's how my body felt, and I didn't feel scared. I felt my adrenaline going, but there was another feeling that I can't actually explain what it is. I've never had it before, so I can't say. You know, it's just I can't articulate this feeling at all of what were happening. So with that feeling and this happening, I thought, when he said that, I thought, no, because sometimes I would say, no, let's go and have a look. So with that feeling and everything, Lee's shining his torch and he's following it and he can see it. And then all of a sudden, it's got to end it, no sign of it. We're looking and I see a post and I'm thinking it's at one point, because my eyes are still blinded because I keep putting it up, looking, and then my eyes get an eye blind. So I left it down a bit and we're using Lee's torch, and then I saw the eyes. I saw a set of eyes light up, green in colour, they lit up, and then over the top, another one, and then that went underneath, and then that went. And then next minute, you've got to imagine that you've got this hill, you've got these eyes, they're disappearing, and then next minute you see eyes disappear, next to it, eyes disappear. So you can see it, whatever it is, it's moving along. So at that point, this is where we're like back to back, and we start walking back, and the bench where me and Natalie were sat on, we're walking backwards. I'm not taking any notice. I get the camera, holding it up, and ended up walking into it and sitting down. So I'm moving. We're going backwards. I'm seeing flits of shadow. I'm seeing shadow movement. So at this point, and it's like, say, we ended up going from two eyes to one eye, and then we just, that's the realization then of where's the other one if there's only one up there. And then I start getting this feeling that, I feel as though we are being hunted. Or we've got one on this side, what we can see, where's the other one? Has it gone round us? And I'm flitting around, I'm looking around everywhere. I can't see anything, and but just that feeling that there's summer stalking us. So we end up going back to that path again. And I've looked at the time on the clock on the camera, and we were there 25 minutes doing all this. So it's giving them time to do whatever they want, the air circling us. It's giving them time because we're not really getting out of there. And perhaps they're thinking, what are these? Why are they not bothered? Because if it is the things that are up there, and usually people have seen them, they've been frightened, and they've run the other way. As far as I know, from the stories I've heard, we're sort of the only ones who've actually stayed there a bit longer. So we're seeing these green eye shines every so often along the top of the hill, getting closer, not to us, but closer to the other side of the hill, back towards the car park. So we go down and we go to this bottom of this path and we start walking up. And we get halfway up, and Lee's using his camera. He's got it running at this point all the time, and he's looking over. And like I say, with this thing I've got, I'm blinding myself, looking normal, and then blinding myself. So I'm hoping I'm getting everything on the camera. If I don't see anything, because it's a night vision and it's a coloured one, and it shows up everything really, really well. But with Lee's torch, because it's so bright, sometimes it'll blind the night vision, so it doesn't see it as good as it should. We get to that point where we what looks like through the night vision is an eye in the shape of an almond looking towards us. And Lee's on the bench, and I'm stood next to him. I think I stand on it at one point looking, and then I get down and move to another point. And when I look at the film footage, it looks like there's a quick shadow running across. And Lee shouts, "It's her, it's her." So I take it away at that point and look over. see if I could see. I couldn't see anything at that point, and then I saw the green eye. Now I only saw one because I was only focused on one eye, and it got brighter, and then it went dull again.
It's true that.
But the only colour, I know we say green LED, but the best colour to describe it is a green traffic light. Because I'm, like in my front room, I've got traffic lights at front, and I thought, that's a green I saw. As bright as that, I mean, as well, not a dull green, and, it was a bright green. And at that point, I think it was Lee, he said, put your parabolics on, or your listening device, and see what we can hear. So I'm doing that, and I thought I heard footfall, and then I heard a twig snap. At first, I thought it was Lee who stepped on a twig, and then I could hear movement coming from behind this bush. And usually when we're out we're using these things, and we're in a wooded area, you can hear rodents running around. So anything heavier, you can tell footfall when you're out. When you've been doing this a long time, like me and Lee, you get notice the different sounds. And I heard it, and it seemed as though it was getting louder. And at that point, I just took him off and said, "Was that you, Lee? Is that you?" And I was getting worried. And then he said, I remember him saying, I could see it. And then I was looking, I said, "Oh yeah, I've just spotted it. Whatever it is, I've just spotted it." And then he says, "It's coming closer." And then I could see this quick shadow move quick up towards us. And I thought, no, that's it. I think it's time to go. Because I'm still feeling the way I'm feeling in my body with everything tingling. And I'm thinking, no, this is so unusual. So we went up to the car park, but I went walking through first because I had the night vision, and I kind of held it as I was walking around because you had to go round this corner, and then the buildings. So we don't know what's around here. My thinking is anything could be there that's going to jump out on us. I walked around slowly. They walked behind me. Everything was fine. We got in car park, and this feeling lifts. The feeling goes away, and I'm feeling okay. And I was thinking, I wouldn't mind going back having another look, because I was feeling excited and sort of relaxed a little bit. All this feeling, everything standing on end, it just had calmed down. So we got to the cars, and we moved the cars to point so the headlights can point on the hill and around that area. So we moved around, and we just got out at car chatting, talking about the experience and that. Lee then had said he shone the torch over and thought he saw something move outside of this shed. He was looking, and it sort of calmed down a bit again after that. And I was walking a bit further over, and on the opposite side of the shed at the back, I saw something quickly move. And I thought, oh, it's back. So I came back at that point. By that point, my night vision, the battery had gone, so I couldn't get anything else.
Yeah.
And then Pete were talking about this other entity, what was around, and I started getting that feeling again, and I started getting a head pain, and then Lee got a head pain, and he was saying, "Oh, it's back." And I don't know what Pete were doing, but at that point, because I'm looking in this direction, I'm feeling like this. I'm thinking, here we go, something's going to happen now. And then next minute, it goes away again. We ended up getting in the car, getting out, and then I think eventually Pete got in the car, went out, and then me and Lee got in the car. And on the way home, or on the way back to the caravan, I had the torch on, shining out at the window, because I thought, if it is chasing us, I'm going to see this thing. I want to see what it looks like properly. And we didn't see anything, but we came back, and it was quite shook up, really. At one part of the footage, there is what looks like a shadow person, which only lasts for about 2 seconds. I did send the footage to a filmmaker who said it could be a shadow from a grass stalk, but at the time I did not have a torch on, and Lee, with his torch, was about 3 meters to my left, shining the torch towards the hill. I have slowed down the footage and looked at it with different colours, and to me it doesn't look like a grass stalk, but the footage is still inconclusive.